Multilateral, and thank you for buying my SuperHero logo. In this tutorial, I'm going to try and explain as quickly and as simply as possible all the options for editing this template. A lot of the options I created so it would be easy for me to work with the template while I was creating it. But I still left those options open to more advanced After Effects users to use and to edit the final video, final version that you'd like. The more simple things I'm going to explain in this tutorial, and I'll make a more complicated or more complex tutorial for all the advanced options. First of all, I've already imported a few images into this folder, which is I created your pixel videos. I've already dragged a few pictures in and a logo for editing. Okay, in the Edit Me folder, we just scroll that down, open that, have the pick 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on and so on. Just going to click on one, and you'll notice when you open it up, it's got this. It's in full quality. These little dots. I put this dots file here for your to make your images look like the comic effect. I'm going to drag your one image in, drag it underneath the dots. I'm going to scale that up so it fits more or less. If you want to see how this is working with your logo, just go back. Sorry. I'm going to go revealing project, revealing composition, and it'll show me shader pages. Yeah. Okay. So you can see what's actually going on and how it's cutting it. So pick 2. You can just scroll down, drag pick number 2 in, and this applies for all the images. It's just drag and drop into the composition, if you do not want these dots, you can either deactivate it for each one of the images, or you can find it in the project, which is over here, inside the elements, dots, and delete it. If you delete it there, it will be complicated for you to put it back in if you need it. So take the time to actually turn it off in each one. If by the chance you decide you actually want it again, well, you have to go back into pick 1, turn it on, back into pick 2, turn it on, and so on and so on and so on. So you can decide later if you want to keep it or not. Okay, that's for putting your images inside the compositions, inside the pages. As you can see, it's already there. Okay. For your logo, just double click here, the logo main. I have this this text that I used. You can just drag and drag in my logo. If you use a vector file, please don't forget to activate the capture transformation, and you also have to turn on the 3D option. Just scale that up to the size that you want. That's it. And just checking if it's activated. Okay, it's working. That is for your logo, your images, how you put them in. Your slogan, as you can remember, right at the end, we have a slogan right at the end, or a site. You can just double click here. That's a text, so you can just select the text and just write whatever you want. The layers that you can edit, most of them have these little extra helpers so you can know what you're doing. This background image is white, but if you want, you can just, like I said, press E. It's got the ramp, and you can actually choose the colors for. You can actually choose colors if you want gradients, and you can actually just move the gradient around for the desired effect. if you don't want it white like I chose. Okay. Like I said, most of the compositions already have these notes, so it can help you remember what is possible to edit and change. Okay, those were the most simple things. If you want to use music in your project, you just have to import the music, drag it in on top. I don't have a music here at this moment, but I can just show you, for example, with any file. I can just show you, for example, just drag it on top here, and your music won't show this icon, it will show this one over here, and your music will be ready to play. Delete that, that's a picture, you don't want that. If you're curious, these images are public domain, they are on the site, it's in the description, a link to the site with these images. Okay, let's go next, options. Okay, background options for editing. If you want to change the color of the background, just go into this control, just tap once or click once, and your effect control, you have the background color 1 and 2. What is the main color that's going to change so I can choose green. So it'll change the background to green. If this is a bit slow and you want to see results very quickly, in this case we just want to see the background, just activate this so it's only the background we see. Okay, now it's just the background, it's a lot faster. And background color 2, which is red in this case, you can actually just choose a blue. Okay, so as you can see, change the color. If you want to go ahead in the timeline to see what's actually happening, that's what's happening. I'm actually going to change this one to a lighter blue. Change this one to a darker blue. Okay, so that's what's happening there. Okay, next we have, starting from the bottom, we have shadows. Shadows are all the shadows our project is creating right here. So what you can do to fade in and fade out, you've got these markers here. Now it's starting over here to fade in, but what you want to just move that along. This is not doing anything, you can move that one away. And you'll only start fading from this marker on. So as you can see, it starts fading there. This is the option of if you don't want your shadows to, I'm just going to activate another layer here. This is our logo layer. Some people don't want their shadows to show when the logo is at the end. Some people do, so you can just activate that shadow just to show a little bit more shadowing there. But that's cool, that's okay. If you don't know what it does, don't worry about it. Just in case you don't want the logo to have too much shadowing at the end there. Background. Move that further out. As you can see, it just showed up that shadow. Some people don't like their logos with the shadow, so you can just leave that on like I did. Okay. I'm going to turn the shadowing off. I'm going to turn our back walk to, like I said, it's got a little help. It says move markers to edit shadow fading and out. Okay. Press T for opacity control. These, I'm going to turn off our layer, our logo. I have this watermark in the background, which is our pages in like a watermark on the background. So if you like that, okay. If you don't like that, just press T and just turn that to 0% and you can turn it off, or you can actually turn it up to 100% and make it darker, whatever makes you happy. Okay, I'm going to put that 50% again. Turning that off. I always turn the 32 one on, which is our logo, so we actually know what's going on. Okay. More things we can control. We can control the, we've already seen background color 1 and 2, in and out, tint amounts, tint color. Okay, we have to turn on more layers here so we actually see what we're doing. The tint is the amount, well, in this case, background's red, but I tinted the rest of the logo to red and black, so it fades in slowly, but you can control that. I'm just going to control, press U for tint and fade in and out keyframes. Okay, so there we have it. This is at 100%, so it's 100% tinted to a new color, and that's 0%, so it'll change. The best way to show that is I'm just going to move that back, and you should see that it's not tinted now anymore. It's like already going to use the original color. So basically, if you want that tint to disappear earlier, just move it back like I did now. And it also happens here. To explain quickly, tint 100%, and here it goes to, just click on that for the next frame, keyframe. It'll just jump to the next keyframe. Now it's 0%, as you can see there, and now it's just using the color of your photos. And the next keyframe is 0%, so it stays colored during this whole time, and then it starts going red again to 100%. So if you don't want tint, you can actually edit this keyframe here and that keyframe there, and all you have to do is just on the keyframe, it has to be, time has to be on that keyframe, just put 0, enter, and the beginning can just go. I'm just clicking on this so it goes to the next animated keyframe to make sure that you don't miss the exact location. And just click here, 0, and you won't have any tint whatsoever. If of course you want less tint, you don't want 100%, you can just put 20% here and 20% at the end there. So just remember 100, 0, 0, 100, okay? Or 20, 0, 0, 20, and you can just move this around to whatever time you want. This is already a more advanced option if you want to edit. So just make sure. Put these options as they were. Okay. Okay, it doesn't have an image here, right? Because I just put the first picture in and I didn't put any other. So next, the in and out tint amount, we've seen that. That's already this option over here. The in and out tint color. Okay, at this point you can actually choose the color you want to tint. For example, if you don't want to tint red, I'm going to actually choose another bluish color here. And it's going to tint to a blue color. You can actually choose the color you want. If you want it to be desaturated, so just black and white, you can just choose white, and basically every page will be black and white. So see right in the beginning here. You can play around with these controls and get the best feel for it you want. Okay. As you can see, it's black and white, so I'm just going to go for that bluish color. Okay. Next, we have Back page lightness. As you can see, when the page turns, it has color, or it's black and white, saturated, and try the back here. Sorry, this project is a little bit heavy because of all the layers and effects, and it's, as you can see, it's this moment. It's can I just figure out a good moment here? Just gonna zoom out a little bit. So the back page is the same as the front page, but with no color. And in this case, it's tinted, so I'm just going to drag this frame back so you can actually see the regional color it'll be when it's not tinted. Okay, it's black and white, and it's got a certain lightness, and in this case, it looks a little bit weird because it's white. So what you can do, the back page lightness, you can actually turn this up. It'll be 100% white. Or you can just turn it down, and it'll be a darker color. Or what I better say, the image will have more presence than the page color. Okay, so in this case, it's black and white, 100% the image, and if you don't want 100% the image, just put it like 50%, and that's page control. Now, what you can do is the back page can also be color. If you do not want that black and white effect, so you can actually put this, that's minus, so just put this at 0, and you should have the color of the page will be, okay, in this case, because our lightness is 50%, 0%, you should have 100% color, same as the front page. As you can see, of course, it's got a little shadow here, so don't worry about that yet. So that's for page saturation. I'm just going to bring that down, minus 100. Notice that will be completely black and white, and I'm going to put this back at about 40%. Okay. I wouldn't worry too much about fold direction, radius, and position 1 and 2. This is a more advanced option. Basically, for people that use or edit the animation, which I will explain in another the advanced tutorial, these options can come in handy for any problems. Basically, what would happen is each page has a fold direction that starts more or less over here and ends over there. So if you do mess around too much with camera animation, there can be some errors there. So basically, fold position 1 is where your fold starts. It should start in this corner outside the frame. Fold position 2, I have it way out here to make sure that when it comes to the last logo, all the pages have really come out. If you have any problem with that, for example, it could happen if I move this here, you will see that I have pages that didn't leave completely. As you can see, they're still stuck here. So just move that further out and you shouldn't have any problem with that. Fold radius, pretty simple. It's just the curve of the page. If you don't want it so curved, if you want it tighter, you can just change that. Like I said, these options, I didn't create them actually for the client to edit. I created these so I could work better in the creation of the project. Anyway, those are the more simple options. Next, I will explain, well, in this tutorial, I'm just going to explain how to edit, how to render your composition. Just another thing here. If your logo is here and you just wanted your slogan to start early, you can just drag it one way or another and it will start earlier. If you don't want it at all, you can just drag it out. So you decide where you want that. Okay. to render, just go to composition, make sure you have your main composition selected, composition, add to render queue, and just choose your output, select your output. Well, I usually choose QuickTime formats H.264, okay, audio output on, okay, and I just choose the location and render, okay. Thank you. This is the beginners or the less experienced tutorial. Next tutorial will be for advanced editing and animation on timeline. Thank you once again for buying my project. Hi, welcome back. This is a more advanced tutorial explaining how to edit a few extra options on your timeline. First of all, I'm just going to explain quickly something I actually forgot to explain in my first tutorial, which would be in the beginning of the project. I explained how to change your images. If you go back into the Edit Me folder, you'll find I have an extra option here for editing your images. It's called Page Shadow Border Edit. Just go back, just click in there. It's the first page, and I've linked all the pages to this page for these edits. So basically, top one controls the side shadow. You won't see it here. You will see it on the main composition, the side, the way that the shade works on the side of the 3D aspect of the logo, and the control stroke. Control stroke is obviously this black line, which you can basically, if it's I'm just going to change that actually to maybe pink, so you can actually see what's happening. And if you go to our main composition, whole side of all the pages will be pink. Well, it won't completely because of this tint. Like I said, I'm going to put this to 0 so we actually see what we're doing. As you can see now, we have this. I'm going to put this in full quality to see. Got the sides of the logo, or cut out pages in pink. Another option is, as you can see, full quality. This does take a while to preview, so please work in quarter quality, and when possible, if you don't need to see the whole layers, just select this option here, so you can just see one layer and see what you're doing. Okay, what I'm really waiting to see here is well, you can see a little bit of it here, the way the shadow works on the sides of this project, the sides of this object. So just waiting a bit. Okay. As you can see, it's not very strong at this moment. It's kind of actually glowing in a certain way, so we can actually go back to our page shadow border edit, and for that second option that I wanted to explain, it's a bit heavy. Templates that do not use plugins tend to be a bit heavy. Okay, in this case we have this pink as I've shown, and now we're going to do is just this option here makes the shadow darker. I just put it was 20%, I'm going to make it 100%, so we can actually go back into the main composition and see how we made the shadow of the sides of the object a bit darker. Hope it doesn't take as long. Shouldn't take as long as it did to refresh. because it's gray. Of course, you see this gray, and but I think you get the whole idea. If you want to make it black, it should be black. You can see some of the effect of it already over there. So it was gray, now it's black, should be darker, and so you can control the shadow of the sides of the object if you want. And if you don't want any shadow whatsoever or any stroke, you can just go to the opacity control of each and just turn them down to 0. Just go here. You can just take that down to 0 in the shadow control, and in the stroke control you can take that down to 0 also if you want to make that disappear. Okay, I'm just going to leave that on bluish, and I'm going to leave that on black, but like maybe 60%, so we can get on with this tutorial. Okay, I'm going to turn that down to 40% quarter quality so we actually see what's going on. Okay, now for the more complicated controls of this template. Most of them already have these options to help you understand what's going on. Dolly and camera keyframes for more advanced people that use After Effects. This starts over here, and activate only the one layer in the background. Starts over here, really animates and turns, and just then it fades and it moves. Okay, what I've done is I use the camera for depth position control, and I've used the dolly for side position and vertical position, horizontal and vertical position control, and rotation. Okay, so basically what this means is if you animate the dolly, don't mess around with this third value. This should stay in 0. If, as you can see, it's not really centered here, I'm just going to move that, and you can center that a bit, and now it will work a lot better. Okay, or I can just use the vertical to get that right. And camera position, if you want to use this for Z, you can use that for Z. Okay, if you want that more in or out, that is the, so left and right, top down, and depth Z. Okay, use that. For example, people say, my logo is too small at the end. Well, you just go to this time, just zoom in a bit, and your logo will be bigger, or your logo will be smaller at the end. Basically, those are the options. If you're a more advanced After Effects user, I'm pretty sure you know how to do this. Okay, the most complicated thing about this project is the pages. I've created an option here that you can actually decide how many pages you want to fold. This option, as you can see, these markers at the top go all the way 31 and 32. 32 you can forget because it's the last, it's our logo as is, so you don't have to worry about that. It's these others that you have to think about. Okay, what happens here? I'm just going to turn that on again. What happens here is that I have a sequence of 32 layers, all one on top of the other. So, and the first one, the top layer, folds away, and so on and so on and so on until it gets to the last one, which is our logo. So imagine you don't want so many pages. You just want, I've got 31, imagine you want 15. My option would be select the control, and the effects control, you'll see I have all these layers right down page 1 and so on and so on and so on. This controls the on-off button for each one. So you can just turn off and our first page will be gone. You don't have to worry about it anymore. It's not there. if you do want to alternate, if you do want 15 pages, I do suggest you alternate. So you keep page 1 on, page 2 off, page 3 on, page 4 off, and so on and so on and so on. And basically what will happen, each one of these markers is the position of when the page starts to turn. So if you're going to use alternate pages like 1, 3, 5, 7, so on and so on and so on, and to make these things simpler, you can actually just hide, actually get some more space, hide these options here, so we can actually get a little bit more space of what we're doing. Turn just that one on, so it all works a little bit faster. If things are going slowly, just isolate just one layer, so you can actually move around and do things. Otherwise, it's going to be really hard. Okay, I've got a lot of layers hidden here, and they're all linked to all these markers. So don't mess around with marker number 32. Make sure that it isn't changed, or you can actually just move it right down to the end here so you don't forget it. Just keep it there. And if I'm going to use alternate layers like 1 and 3 and 5 and 6, 5 and 7 and so on and so on, what I do suggest is take 2, drag him after your slogan, so it doesn't really matter. He's off anyway, so but just keep his marker here. And 4, we're not going to use 4, so you can put 4 also over there, and we're not going to use 6. And we do this, and 8. Try not to put one on top of the other, because if you do, they will become only one, and it will give you an error. So just keep them, just drag them away so that they're not giving you any hassle, and so on and so on and so on. So basically, what you'll have is 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and so on, and just page 1, page 2, 3 on, 4 off, 5 on, 6 off, 7 on, and 8 off. Okay, I'm just going to go right to the beginning here. I'm going to turn all my layers on so I can actually see what's going on. Excuse me. And as you can see, I'm starting, they're spacing out a bit because now I've got every second layer on and not all of them on. So basically that's what it's going to do. It's going to have the top one, and it's going to have every second layer until the last one. That's one option that I've suggested for you. Another option would be turn off all the, don't forget, if you're going to use page 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and 11, only put your images in pick 1, pick 3, pick 5, pick 7, pick 9, and so on and so on and so on. Okay, so but if you want to use 15 and you just want the last 15 right next to the logo, because it won't look good if you just have the first 15, then a big hole right over here, and then your last logo. What you want is your last 15 pages and your logo. So what you do is you turn everything off, turn all your pages off, right till, what I'm going to do here is turn all these pages off, but you get the idea, right until the last 5 or last 15. Just say you got that page on, which is your logo, 32, then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, more or less about here. Well, it's 31, so it's about 15. Turn all these off before, drag them away, like I said, and you can, then you have space to use your 15, and you can space them out because they start where the marker is, so you can play around a bit with that. Try use lower quality as possible to get this to work right, and basically, I think you get the idea. You can just move around and adjust and create your own animation for your own special logo. I think I covered all my bases in this one. If you have any problems, any doubts, any extra help, you can contact me through my Video Hive message box, and I will try and help you the best I can. Thank you once again for buying this project. Sorry, I forgot to include the how to edit the flare in the tutorial, and I've actually updated the file because the original file didn't have the flare in it. Okay, now the project includes this flare right over here, and as it says, as you can see here, it says flare don't move in the Z. If you select this flare, you can just, if you just put your cursor on top of the coordinates gizmo, you'll see one says Z, one says Y, and other one says X. What we don't want, I'm going to explain now. Don't click and move in the Z, otherwise it will do depth for your just up and down in depth, and we don't want that, so just Control Z. So I'm actually just going to isolate this, just isolate it over here, so it's easier and faster to move. For example, if you decide you actually know where you want to put your flare, in this case I have it on this amazing text, I'm actually going to change the location. What I'm going to do here is just going to go here and just show rulers, so it's really faster. I'm just going to drag this down. Imagine I want the flare right here on the tip of the M, and I'm just going to do this like that. Okay, and without changing the time, I'm just going to select only the flare so it's faster. You can just take the Y, drag it down there, and when you see it's more or less in line with the red one with the X, just drag it up there. Okay, so we didn't move the Z, we just used the Y, we just used the X. Okay, I can turn that off again, and we should have the location on the M. My suggestion is just move it a little bit in the letter, so don't really put it on the tip, just put it a little bit inside the logo, just a little bit in, because it's on the top of all the layers, so if you have it really on the tip, when it gets halfway, it's going to be outside the logo, basically. So I'm going to check here. Thank you. Well, basically, as you can see, basically that's how you edit your flare. Thank you once again for buying the project, and good luck. This is the tutorial to explain you how to add the music. This is only to explain how to add the music that I've suggested for this template. So because I've edited the music to fit the animation as it is in the preview, this is just for that. If you have if you buy the same music that I've suggested for this template, just go into the Edit Me folder. You'll see there's this music composition. Double click there. Just drag your music in there. I'm just going to delete both of these. Just drag your music in there, and it should fit perfectly, and it should work perfectly for the edited version of this template. This works for the SuperHero version, which I have the epic heroic identity. The music link is on the page of the template to download, or the link at least to the page. And it also, in the other version of this template, the love version, the music, it works the same way. It's not this music, it's another music. Just open up the music folder, just drag the music that I've suggested for this template. Thank you once again.
Subscribe to our channel by clicking the subscribe button. Click the bell button and enjoy the latest uploads from our channel.